Hey, what's up you guys? If you're planning on towing a trailer with your Lincoln Corsair, you have to have trailer wiring installed. It's required by the law. Now this install can be a little difficult since we are using a universal wiring kit, but we'll guide you through it. Let's get started. You'll need the tools seen here to complete this installation. Now for this install, we need to find all of our wires that are attached to our taillight harness. Now we can find all the wires that we need for all of our lighting functions for both our passenger and our driver's side taillight right here in the passenger side column. So we're gonna need to get behind all these panels. So to start, we're gonna remove our flooring just by pulling it out. Now we need to remove the spare tire. We're just going to turn this knob counterclockwise till that comes off, and then we can pull it out. Now we're going to remove our jack. We're just going to turn this knob counterclockwise till this whole post comes out. And now we can remove this entire tray. Now we're going to remove our rear threshold panel. There's two screws holding it in place, one back here and one over here. We're going to remove those using a 7mm socket. With those screws removed, we're just going to pull up on our panel and set this aside. Now we're going to remove this cargo hook right here. We're just going to pull up on the hook, and we're going to remove this plastic piece just by pulling out. And then that exposes a screw that we'll remove using a T25 torque screw bit. So now we're ready to pull back on our passenger side panel. We're just going to start at the bottom and work our way up. There's just a couple pins that hold this in place. And that gives us access to our wiring harness right here. Now we're going to be hooking up a universal wiring kit to this vehicle. Now this is a 2020 Lincoln Corsair. So the colors that we call out for the wires that you'll need to hook up to for all of your lighting functions may be different if you have a different year. So just make sure you double check it using a circuit tester before you hook everything up. So let's go ahead and point out all the wires that we're going to need to use. Now this is a 3-wire system, which means that every wire is going to have a separate function. For example, our green wire with our orange stripe, this is going to have just our right turn signal. And we're going to hook up our green wire from our trailer wiring to this wire. Now our white wire with the orange stripe, this is for our running lights, and we're going to hook up the brown wire from our universal wiring kit onto this wire. Now our next wire is our gray wire, also with an orange stripe. This one is going to be our left turn signal, and we're going to hook up our yellow wire from our trailer wiring kit. Last, we have our white wire with our green stripe. This is for our brake light function, and we're going to hook up our red wire from our trailer wiring kit to this one. And we'll use a Scotch lock to do all that. So we'll put the two wires in the Scotch lock, and then we're going to use some pliers just to crimp it down. Now following our wiring harness down, we have an existing screw right here that we're going to use to ground our white wire with the ring terminal. Now to remove this, we're going to use an 8mm socket. We're going to take that screw, put it through our ring terminal, and then we'll reattach it. Now on our converter box, we have a black wire that we need to connect our power wire to. Now our kit comes with one, but we're going to use a U-Haul exclusive power wire. This has a protective loom on it that will help keep it safe from the elements. So let's go ahead and attach this using a heat shrink butt connector. And we're going to use a butane torch for the heat shrink. Now our power wire needs to be hooked up to our battery, which is located in our engine compartment. So to get it there, we're going to get our wire underneath our vehicle and route it all the way to the engine bay. Now to do that, we have a vent that's located right in here. We're just going to take our wire and we're going to push it all the way down so we can get access to it underneath our vehicle. Now that we have our power wire underneath our vehicle, the last thing we have to do in our cargo area is decide where to store our 4-flat harness. You have two options. You can bring this underneath your vehicle and mount it right next to your hitch receiver. To do that, you can go through one of these grommets so that you can get it underneath. You'll just want to make sure that you seal that grommet back up when you reinstall it. Now your other option is to leave it here in the storage area. You can just leave it in that storage tray that we removed at the very beginning of this install. And then when you need to tow, you can just pull it out through the weather seal and hook it up to your trailer. So our customer has requested that we leave this in the storage area. So now we're all done in here and we can go ahead and put it back together. Now we're underneath our vehicle and we're going to run our power wire all the way to our engine bay. Now we went ahead and already did it. There's not a lot of room on this vehicle, and when you're running your power wire, you want to make sure that you avoid anything hot, anything moving, and make sure you just take your time to find the best route. Now you're going to want to use a lot of zip ties to secure your wiring to your frame or other existing wiring underneath your vehicle. Now, like I said, we already routed this so we could show you a good route that we found. So let's start over for where our wiring came out right here on the passenger side. Our wiring dropped down right here, and we found that our brake lines are on our driver's side. Now there's not any moving parts or anything hot on our brake lines. So to bring our wiring to the driver's side, we went above this cross member to keep it away from anything moving or anything hot. And then we dropped it right here next to this wiring harness and zip tied it. Now from here, we're gonna follow our cross member over here to keep away from any moving parts till we get to the paneling over here. Now that we're at this panel, we're gonna bring our wire underneath it since our brake lines are under there. So there's a couple of these nuts that are holding it into place. We're gonna remove 6 of them on the inside of this panel using a 10mm socket. Now that we have this pulled down, you can see that we brought this wire and followed it all along the brake lines till we get up to our engine compartment. Now that we've reached the bottom of our firewall, it can be a little tricky to get our wire up there. You might have to use a pull wire technique to pull it up, and you might have to remove these heat shields to be able to get a good look at the best way to get up there. If you have to remove these heat shields, you'll need a T30 torque screw bit, but otherwise you'll just bring that wire right up following the brake lines. Now in our engine bay, our wire is going to come up just right underneath our brake reservoir, and now we're going to connect it to our positive terminal on our battery. Now on our U-Haul exclusive power wire, all you have to do is plug in your fuse holder, and then we're going to remove this positive cap and we attached it to this post right here. You'll just need a 13mm socket to remove that nut. After you have your fuse holder connected to your battery, you just want to make sure that you zip tie it to keep it nice and close to everything so it has a professional look. And then on our fuse holder, we're just going to pop open the cap right here, and we're going to insert the provided 15-amp fuse. And then we're all done in our engine compartment. With our wiring all powered up, you're ready to tow a trailer. If you have any questions about this product, or if you'd like to schedule an installation with a U-Haul Hitch professional, you can visit your closest U-Haul Hitch center, or you can visit us online at uhaulhitches.com. Thank you.